Hey everyone, it's Dan, Duggan, and Keith Sargeant. We snuck into High Point Solutions Stadium. The team just wrapped up their first spring practice under Chris Ash. We've made it through the first practice without throwing up. Can't say the same for every player. We'll protect their identity though. But just what were some of the biggest things that jumped out to you in the first practice?
Lots of different things. I mean, it just felt like changes were in the air. As soon as you walk in, there's a big banner that says "The Hunt," which we'll get into in a second. But just the movement. There was music. I mean, it just seemed like Chris Ash really controlled the environment right from the get-go. The hunt is really like the theme of I guess it's going to be the season. Chris Ash talked a lot about it during the press conference. Also noticed each of the players actually wear black stripes on their helmet. Chris Ash talked about that in the press conference. Talked about how that's sort of like a rite of passage, which is going to be a good thing when you see photos throughout the entire year. If a player has a black stripe on their helmet, simply means they're not ready to play.
Shocker, that came from Ohio State.
Exactly.
One of many things that have been borrowed from Ohio State.
And speaking about Ohio State, I mean, Chris Ash just seemed like obviously he has the entire staff there, but he's really brought in a whole lot of influences from there. What were your impressions?
I guess I'll look at the quarterbacks. I know that's what everyone's going to want to talk about. We'll get to talk to them on Saturday. It'd be interesting to see what they had to say about these changes. Talk to offensive coordinator Drew Maringer, see what he has to say. But Chris Ash, kind of laid out sort of his thoughts on the quarterback situation. Ideally, he wants to have one guy, but obviously he's not going to back himself in a corner. Maybe there could be a situation where you have two quarterbacks, like they had at Ohio State a little bit last year. But he wants one guy. Probably not going to name him before the end of spring practice. Wants to give the top three guys, Laviano, Rettig, and Gio Signo, equal reps, see who stands out. I think, 2 weeks into spring camp, we'll probably have a much better idea of who's separating. But I wouldn't expect any announcement until after the spring game at the earliest.
Two more quick impressions. One, I know we've written about it a lot. We've talked about, Drew Maringer, the moving to the spread, seeing the quarterbacks do it. Totally, jarring because I've seen the pro style for 15 years now. To see, Chris Laviano, Hayden Rettig, Gio Rosigno, doing the gun run stuff, it's just something it was jarring. And then Darius Hamilton, seeing him, and you just want to close with seeing Darius and what you thought of him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good sign to see him back out there. Chris Ash basically said it's going to be up to Darius. He knows his body. He knows he needs to practice to reach his potential. So I think he'll be out there every day. How much he does, I mean, they're going to let a fifth-year senior determine it, but definitely a good sign to see him out there.
And we'll be out there every day, Saturday and throughout training camp, or throughout spring camp.
Absolutely.